Thank you, everyone. I do hope you had a moment to stretch your legs. We are going to kick off with Bharti, who's going to be discussing BAASS Web Query Tool. I'm going to pass it over to you, Bharti.
Thank you, Haley. Good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully you're enjoying these sessions that we have planned for you today. So I'll introduce myself in case somebody has joined just for this session. My name is Bharti Meisuria. I'm the practice lead for development and management consulting here at BAASS. And today we are going to go over and see a demonstration of our web query tool as part of our intelligence track. So with that, I will go ahead and unshare my camera and go right into the presentation. Okay, so as part of this session, what I hope that you take or learn from this session is how you can have access to your data quickly and be able to filter without having a developer or programmer or technical staff beside you. So real quick access to your data from Sage 300 or any other system at your fingertips, quick and easy to use. So we have this product called BAASS Web Query or BAASS Web Report tool, and we've designed this tool to pull data from any type of database that you may be having, in this case, Sage 300, or if you're running any other application that is SQL-based, or if you're running a system that is in the cloud and that has API access, the BAASS Web Query is able to connect to those tools and present to you the data for reporting and analysis. BAASS Web Query Tool is completely a pure web application. It does not need any installation on your local computers. It doesn't need any special files to run the application. Therefore, if you're able to access a browser on any type of device, including a handheld, you are able to get to your data. So just at a high level, before we go into the product demo, BAASS Web Query is able to do dashboards. Now, unlike other tools that we have, BAASS Web Query has simple dashboards, so it doesn't need any design work. You are able to, as an end user, if you have the permissions, you're able to drag and drop and create your own dashboards. And I'll show you how you have access to that type of functionality. If you have technical expertise, we can open up BAASS Web Query tool so that you can design your own queries. So when you purchase the tool, we provide it with you with a lot of out-of-the-box reports and queries. But if you have expertise and if you want to open it up and do your own queries, we do have a license for it. So when we provide the license for this tool to you, we provide you with either runtime where you're just interested in running the reports or queries, or we can give you a developer license where you're able to design your own queries and pull the data from your systems. You have the ability to pull data from multiple databases. So in other words, if you're running Sage 300 in a custom application and you want to consolidate and generate reports, you're able to use this tool to do that. You're able to set permissions so that when the users log in, they only see what they are authorized to. For example, if you have reports that are payroll-based, and let's say you have multiple team members, and Anna is responsible for your payroll, everybody else is not authorized to see your payroll reports. When Anna logs in, she will see all of the payroll reports, but when everybody else logs in, they will not see Anna's report. So you're able to segregate permissions for each report and segregate that by roles or users. Once you have designed your report, doesn't matter what type of report it is, you're able to download it in Excel as well as PDF for distribution. So with that, I will jump right into the product demonstration. So right now what you see is the dashboard that I have created in my sample company. So at a very high level, you can see that this is a browser-based software. It does not need any installation on your system. We've implemented this tool for clients and they're up and running within hours with the out-of-the-box reports. I'm quickly going to show you how you get to the dashboard functionality. So right here, what I have is I have a simple list of my projects that I have that are active, the customers that the projects belong to, and the project manager that is responsible for that project. I also have a little KPI window here where I've just simply put in how many active projects do I have at this time with the organization. So if I wanted to edit this dashboard, and if you had the permission, I would simply go to the admin and I would go to the dashboard functionality. I can create multiple dashboards. I can create a dashboard and attach it to a user. So if I have a payroll users, I can create the dashboard and say this would be the dashboard for my payroll users. If I wanted to create one for customer service, I can create a dashboard for customer service and attach it to users that do customer service. So here is just an example. I'm going to go ahead and edit. So what you have here is basically an editor or tools that are available to design your dashboard. And down here, you have a preview of what your dashboard will look like. So this is simply a query that I have brought in from my query list into the dashboard. If I wanted to bring another, let's say I wanted to bring a list of employees just so I can see it, all I do is I simply click this icon that says query tool because I want to bring another query, drag it where I want, size it, and then I'm able to tie this to a query that I already have by clicking the edit button and saying, I want my employees' birthday list. And the next time you log in, this dashboard will be populated with your employees' birthday list. So it's as simple as that. And as you can see, in addition to the query tool, I can add as many KPIs as I want. So completely open to how you want to make your dashboard display as your users log in. In this case, going back, I have my project list and the number of active projects. The next functionality that I'm going to show you is the queries itself. So when we install this application for you, we provide you with some out-of-the-box queries for the core modules, depending on what modules you're running, and this would include GLAP, AR, project job costing, and so forth. So when you go to the query window, you will see all of the queries that are available in a page form, and it's just like a web application. So you scrolling up and down, you go to different pages to see what are your different queries. In addition to that, if you're searching for a specific type of query, you can filter and say, I'm looking for anything that is AR, and it'll bring all the reports that contain the word AR. I'm going to reset my filter, and in this demo version, I have quite a number of queries, but I'm going to go through specific ones and show you the functionality of this tool. So the first one I have is, I have this query that I've written, and it's called AP invoice, and it's basically bringing me data for my accounts payable invoices. I'm going to go ahead and first execute and show you the results. As an end user, if you say, okay, I want to run this report and see the results, all it's doing, it's bringing all of my vendor invoices. So what are some of the functionality that are available within this once you have the data returned? Number one, as you see your list, you're able to click on any column. So I'm going to go ahead and click on my vendor ID. And now this has sorted my list by vendor ID. So 1200, 1400, and so forth. So any type of report that you do in the query tool, once you have the results, you're able to sort, and all the columns are sortable. Once you have the data presented, you have the ability to present this data in a graphical format. Now we have some simple charts, but we're constantly enhancing this application, but I'll just show you an example. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and select a bar chart, and I'll say that I want to see my payables by vendor ID in a bar chart format. Show me the chart. And down below here, I have my vendor IDs, and it's showing me the amounts that is payable to these different vendors. So I'm just going to select one of the columns here, and the vendor 9230, and I'm able to see the amount owing as well. So I have different types of presentation in terms of charts. I can do bar charts, line charts, and so forth. Now, if you noticed when I run this report, I came to a list of results or rows, and it didn't ask me for any parameters. That's because what I had done was I had saved my parameters. But if I click expand this button, I'm able to see my parameters, and I can limit the results to say, I don't want data from July to now. I simply want it from maybe August the 3rd till now, and I'm able to search. I don't have any data. I'm going to go back to my results for starting from July, search, and there I have it. So depending on the type of query, if you have parameters and if you specify, if you are interested in saving your preferences, you have the ability to save your preferences by saying, I have this that I saved earlier. It's called all the transactions since July, or I can create my own preference, create and save it as a different name. So that when you arrive here, I'm simply able to say, go ahead and run this, but I want to run it based on a specific preference. It'll pick up the parameters and execute the results for you. So to summarize, you have the out-of-the-box query. You have the ability to sort the columns once you have the results. You can present the information in a graphical format, and you're able to save your parameters. The next example that I'm going to use is my other report here that I've created. It's called this is for PJC. It's called PM Project Job Cost and Revenue. So I'll go ahead and execute that query. I do have the parameters here that says the project ID and the project number, but I'm just going to skip them because I have a small set of data. I'll go ahead and look at my results. So once you have the results here, there are some other things that you can do with your results. And let's say this is basically your list of projects by customer. And if you wanted to see this, I mean, one way I could do is I can sort by customer, and now I have 10 lines for 1200, and then about 8 lines for 1400. However, if I wanted to group them neatly, I'm able to so I'm holding on to the customer's header column, and I'm dragging it on to the header column. And then I'm releasing it. As soon as I release, my output is now grouped by customer. So these are all the different contracts for customer 1200, and these are the different contracts for customer 1400. So once I have my query and I have my end results, I'm able to group visually and it'll display the results. If somebody went and created a new project right now in Sage, as soon as I refresh this page, I would see a new project created. So it's all real-time data. What I'm going to do now is show you another functionality. So we've just seen how you can group the data and see your data on the screen, but you may want to actually dump this data in Excel for further analysis. And you do that by simply going into export my data to Excel. It's done it, it's created my Excel file. When I click open, my data is going to be grouped by customer. So it shows the way I had it on my screen. It's WYSIWYG. You see what you see is what you get. And if I scroll onto the right, I have my totals for the billing amount and my costs and so forth by project, by customer, and then the overall total for the customer. I can do any offline analysis on this data. This is offline, so it's not going to update your Sage. But if you needed to, let's say, email somebody just the list to say this is where we are, you're able to use the Excel file and email. That's one option. I'll show you another option of emailing the results to your team as well. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this query. And what we just learned was when you execute the query, you're able to see the results on the screen, and then you're able to group. Just one more thing that I do need to show you is that going back into the same query, and I'm going to group this time by customer. So I'm doing a drag and a drop, but I have no limit as to how many columns I can do a drag and drop. So I can actually have a sub. So now my results are sorted by customer and then project name. So I have a customer and that customer has 3 projects. 1, 2, and 3, and it's broken down my transactions accordingly as well. So there's no limit as to how many grouping columns you can have for your reports. Go ahead and cancel out of this. And the next thing that I wanted to show you was I'll use this employee list query to show you the features, and I'll go ahead and execute that. So all this is basically it's giving me some parameters for selecting my employees. I can filter by class. If you're familiar with your payroll, every employee is tied to a class, so I'm able to do a filter. I have just selected everything, so I have my tidy little list of my employees here. Once I have the results, I am able to hide columns. So let's say it's now Christmas time and I need to share this employee list for Christmas party invites. I'm able to select the columns that I need to see. So I don't need the position for the invite. I don't need the supervisor. I don't need the middle name. I'm okay with just the employee first name, last name, and basically full name for whatever reason. And there you have it. As I'm filtering, you would hide your columns, and now I'm able to set my preference to email this output to anybody that I want. I'm also able to, and I'm just clicking on the first name and I'm just dragging onto the first column. I just reordered my column. So now I have a basic list of first name, last name, and full name of my employees, and I removed the unwanted columns. I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you another example. And it is the PO purchase order clearing report. And I'm sure most of you do a lot of manual reconciliation of your purchase orders versus receipts. And this is one of the reports that we include out of the box. Now you can imagine that this information is stored in multiple places. Your purchase orders, your receipts, and your invoices is on different places. This is a good example of a query that if you needed to pull data from multiple places, BAASS web query is able to do that. So in this report here, it's a typical PO clearing report. I have my information displayed that shows me the POs, what is receipted and so forth. And what I'm able to do is I'm just going to quickly sort, and I'm going to filter to say I only want to see a specific receipt ID because somebody's on the line and is querying about something. So I'm able to, just like Excel, filter and say, okay, show me just the results for this receipt ID. And there I have it. So no matter how complicated the report is, it's pulling data from multiple places. You're able to filter on any of the columns. And then the last report that I wanted to show you with some example was the GL journal batch, the GL batch journal. This is pulling data from your GL module. If I execute, I'm going to bring data from July. So this is basically all posted journal entries in your Sage starting from July till now. Now you saw how I have close to 300 items, but the results were almost instantaneous. So that's another thing. Performance with this tool is great because the way it's designed to present your data in the web format, and therefore all the queries are highly optimized. And in this case, I'm just going to shift the column account ID here. You can see if this was my GL posting journal, there's quite a bit of large data set here. and I'm able to do all the functionality, and the results are almost instantaneous. I'm seeing it sorted, I'm seeing it. I can do the same thing. I can go ahead and group my transactions. If you're looking for a specific, you know, if your subledgers were not balancing for whatever reason, you're able to quickly do your grouping and, you know, drill into the transactions and do your reconciliation that way. So that, in a nutshell, is the BAASS web query tool. What I wanted to show you today was, you know, the different capability in terms of you get reports that are out of the box. Once you have the results, you're able to work with those results, as in you can filter, sort, group, you can dump the data in Excel. And more importantly, once you've set your preferences, you're able to set up your emails. And that's really a configuration aspect rather than anything else, to say, I want my outstanding AP invoices, if they are due for 60 days or over 90 days, I want them emailed to this email ID. So you're able to configure the email function as well. So with that, I will pause here for any questions that we may have in the chat window.
Okay, so it looks like we have a couple that have come in. One of the first questions is, how long does it take to write a new report in BAASS Web Query?
So typically it would depend on the type of report, but I can tell you, you also the purchase order clearing report, and that's a, you know, I would say semi-complicated report because it's pulling data from 3 places, and that would take approximately 2 hours to write.
Okay. Does BAASS Web Query work with Sage 2018 or older versions?
That's a great question. So yes, BAASS Web Query works from Sage 2017 onwards.
And a follow-up to that would be, does BAASS Web Query work with other ERP or other software solutions?
The answer is yes. So as long as you have your data where we can connect to it electronically, so either you have your data in SQL or you have it in the web somewhere in the cloud, as long as we can connect to it via API, we are able to write your report using this tool.
Another question we have here is, am I able to use BAASS Web Query for my history? I think this is for my historical databases in Sage.
That's a great question again. So the answer is yes. Now, if just to elaborate on that question, typically in Sage, our clients would create archive databases. So they would create archive databases and they have the current most up-to-date data. Now, typically, if you wanted to run a sales report, then you would have to run in from individual databases. And then if you wanted a consolidated report, you would have to do that in Excel. But with the BAASS Web Query, if you had, let's say, 3 archive databases and 1 live, we would be able to pull the data from the 3 databases and combine it with the live and present to you one single report that will show you sales for the last 5 years as one report.
That's excellent. Another question we have is, can I have the report emailed to me at a specific time?
Yes, we do have the email functionality. You have full capability to configure the time and the user and what report should be emailed. So yes, that is included in this tool.
And the one last question I do have is it possible to work with BAASS to create a custom report, just that would be more specific to our business?
The answer is yes. We've done that with many other clients, and we'd be happy to work with you to develop one that is specific to your needs.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Bharti, for presenting today and showing us all about the BAASS Web Query tool.
Thank you everyone for attending, and thank you, Haley.
We are going to take a break here and rejoin at 2:50. The next session is Advanced Analytics by Data Self, Deployment and Customizations, and that'll be happening on this track. Or you can hop over to track 1 for Sage Intelligence Financial Reporting Training.